Hello, everyone. We're live. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll wait a couple of minutes for others to join. But in the meantime, feel free to connect with others in the chat. Tell us where you're dialing in from. And we'll begin in just a couple of minutes. Hello, once again, everyone. We're just waiting a couple of minutes more for others to join. You're tuned into PaygOps webinar. Let us know in the chat where you're tuning in from. Connect with others in the chat. And we will begin shortly. Thank you. Okay, I think we're good to go. So welcome everyone once again. My name is Jacqueline and I'm from the customer success team here at PaygOps. And I am quite pleased today to be hosting you again for our PaygOps webinars. For those who don't know about the organization, since 2014, Solaris Upgrade is a distributor, now turned software provider focused on technology solutions to help scale up essential products and services for people in low-income regions or at the last mile. While our aim is to enable technology for the value chain, we've been supporting manufacturers right from product design to make it fit for market needs. And we've also been committed to allowing interoperability of PaygOps software with OpenPayGo, and also providing a suite of operational tools and apps for LMDs through our flagship product PaygOps, which you all know, hopefully, and also alongside our product development services branch called Solaris Lab. Now, from our valuable experience working with LMDs, we've always sought to match their challenges with a solution, whether it's with our main software product or our hardware, solutions. But that's not limited to those. We've also been committed to developing advanced features. And then today, we're really excited to share with you our groundbreaking feature as part of our core solution. And I'm quite excited to be hosting this webinar alongside two speakers who I'll introduce shortly. But in this webinar, we'll be showcasing, they would of course be showcasing via a couple of scenarios and demos, how your agri-businesses can optimize your operations at the last mile with this groundbreaking feature. Now, whether you're in the agri sector or not, I think there are many great takeaways from this webinar. So I'd advise you to stay until the very end. And so without further ado, welcome again to the PaygOps Offtaking webinar. And to do us the honors, we'll have a first speaker in the person of our Senior Business Development Manager, Nelson Lutta. And we also have our second speaker in the person of Caroline Mwarania, who's our Product Owner. So welcome again. We look forward to your participation throughout the webinar. Again, feel free to connect, tell us where you're coming from in the chats. And also throughout the webinar, if you have questions or insights to share, use the dedicated chat box or the dedicated Q&A box to leave your questions. And at the end of the presentations, we'll take out some time to answer your burning questions. So to kick off the session, and before I hand over to the speakers for the day, I have a very short poll to, understand what your organization is currently doing as regards of taking. So if you can kindly take 30 seconds to answer the poll that's popping up on your screen right about now, would greatly appreciate that. Thank you. All right, thanks for answering the first poll. There would be a couple more as we go along, I think about 3 more. Very short polls to collect information. So I'll now hand over to Nelson to tell us more about the agri-industry challenges and where our groundbreaking feature comes in. Nelson, over to you.
Hi, everyone. As Jack has introduced me, my name is Nelson Lutta, Senior Business Development Manager at Solaris Off-Grid, with a background working in agriculture, and I'm dialing in today from Nairobi, Kenya. So as we've been working, supporting companies in the last mile, we noticed that agriculture continues to be a driver for African economies, representing between 30 to 40% of GDP and about 65 to 70% of the labor force. Where we deduce that smallholder farmers then continue to dominate this particular market. And that's as a result, for most last mile distributors, their main customers end up being smallholder farmers. Yet we've also seen that these smallholder farmers continue to face a number of challenges impacting their livelihoods. So the big 3 that we've looked at being access to finance and quality inputs, climate change, and market access. So as part of our mission to provide access to life-changing technology for the next billion, PaygOps has already been supporting agri-tech companies in addressing the first 2 challenges of climate change and access to finance and quality inputs. We've already been supporting companies such as One Acre Fund, JFS in Mozambique, Solar Village in Zambia, and we've been specifically supporting them to be able to manage their field operations and their loan lease operations. By using our technology, they're able to find and onboard prospects using our offline-enabled Android app. They're able to manage their credit scoring, manage loans, and accept repayments via mobile money, able to manage inventory, and provide after-sales support. Before I proceed, maybe I'll pause for another poll.
Yes, indeed, we have the second poll right about now. And would like to collect some information about what challenges that you might, be facing currently in your off-taking operations. That's if you're engaged in off-taking at the moment. So please take out 30 seconds to answer this poll. All right, thanks. And Nelson, I think you can take over from here.
Yeah, thanks, Jackie. So as we've already been supporting last mile distributors to solve the first two main challenges of access to quality inputs and finance, as well as climate change, we're now looking to help address the third biggest challenge for smallholder farmers of market access. And we see off-taking as a critical way to address this. The way we're looking at off-taking and the way we're defining it is the ability to receive and buy agricultural produce from existing and new farmers. And thus we have built the technology to support the associated processes. And I'll proceed forward just to highlight more on this. So as we started speaking to agri-techs, especially around this big challenge of market access, it became apparent that there were a number of technological gaps affecting the ability of them to support their smallholder farmers and solve for market access. Some of the big issues that we saw that were arising were challenges such as managing payments to farmers, which we've seen in the poll, managing farmer KYC, quality control, capital is quite an ever-present challenge, and then the challenge of middlemen as well. So a lot of these challenges have informed the way we've decided to build this feature so that it can help these businesses to be able to support the smallholder farmers and be able to add value to the businesses themselves. Thus, all distributors who have smallholder farmers as customers can be able to utilize this feature to accept loan repayments in the form of produce, supporting their customers and helping to improve repayment rates. The feature supports two main models. So those who are just off-taking produce from smallholder farmers, as well as those who are distributing products on credit to smallholder farmers and accept repayments, either partial or full, in the form of produce. So you could be distributing a number of products, and we support distributors distributing quite an array of products, whether it's agricultural inputs, SHS devices, cook stoves, etc., etc. My colleague will dive a bit more into detail with this, but just as an overview, the feature supports you to manage operations such as collecting KYC and biodata of the farmers, collecting agri-related information on the produce, being able to record information around quality and quantity of the produce, as well as being able to pay the farmers for the produce sold. And for us, I think the belief would be that this will help you to be more efficient, be able to be more effective, as well as to be able to support more of the smallholder farmers that you work with. So I'll pause there. My colleague Caroline will highlight more on this shortly. I think we have another poll.
Yeah, interesting insights there, Nelson. Before Caroline takes over, I would like the audience to take out another 30 seconds to answer this poll. So here would be interested more to see, who is engaging, but also engaging in off-taking features, like what you're offering in terms of inputs and services. So yeah, or maybe, because there's 2 parts to this question, I think would leave it 1 minute for you to have the time to answer. Thank you. All right, thanks for taking the time to answer. I'll now hand over to our second speaker, Caroline, to take over and show us a couple of scenarios and demos of this feature.
Thanks, Jackie. Thanks everyone for joining the webinar. My name is Caroline, like Jackie has said. And for my part of the webinar, I'm going to describe to you how the processes work on PaygOps. So in the first scenario, like Nelson has mentioned, it is possible for a farmer to just sell the product to an off-taker or distributor. And on PaygOps, this is possible, and I'm going to show you how. Nelson, if you could stop share screen and I can show you. Thank you. So the first step when an off-taker or distributor would like to buy or take product from a farmer is to create the offers that mark that this is an item that has been supplied by a farmer to them. In PaygOps, we go do this by going to settings and creating an add-on offer. And when you create an add-on offer is where you can mark that this is a purchasing add-on. What this means is the item or the produce, for example, that have maize or beans. A purchasing add-on of maize means that this is a payment, that this is an item that has been supplied by a farmer to the distributor. So once you've created your add-ons, for this case, say we have an add-on, a purchasing add-on of maize, you will go through the sales through a custom menu called receiving goods, where you will create the profile of the farmer who is going to supply the items to you. So in this case, we have Shiro Marianne, and Shiro Marianne would like to sell her maize to the distributor. It's very important to note that this view here is from that of a distributor. And once you create the farmer's profile and the phone number, you have a moment to verify that the phone number does exist. After that, you can customize the information about the farmer. So in this case, we can put in her birthday. So she's born on the 5th of July. You have the chance to put in her phone number, her ID number. And also really important to note is through this custom process, you're able to add questions that are relevant to you as a distributor or to the industry that you're targeting. In this case, the distributor has selected to have questions on soil testing. So you can assume that Shiro has done soil testing. She uses DAP as fertilizer and uses fungicides for harvest for her maize crop. You also have the option to put in the GPS coordinates of the farm so that you have a more tailored view of where the practice is happening and potentially what market you were reaching with your services. Then the second validation will happen. And at the last stage, you have the chance again to state what items the farmer is bringing in. So it is maize. And say, for example, Shiro is supplying 60 kilograms of maize. This unit could be pounds, bags, kilograms, whatever you would like. Next, you will verify the information of the price. And in this last page, you could imagine that if the farmer has supplied the produce to a warehouse, this is the stage where the warehouse manager or field agent will do quality checks to check that the item supplied is that indeed that has been agreed on. And they'll have the chance to put in a summary for, we can say that Shiro has sold 60 kilograms of Werimo beans, and the total price that Shiro will take her maize for is, for example, 5,000 Kenya shillings. Finally, the farmer will sign to confirm that this transaction has happened, and you as a distributor have the option to pay the farmer with mobile money like M-Pesa or pay in cash. So let's say you pay the farmer with M-Pesa. It will process the payment and finalize all the steps and save the information of the farmer. And you will then get a final message confirming that the transaction has been successful with the reference number of the payment made to the farmer. And you have the chance to see the farmer profile summarizing all the information about the transaction. So you'll see here, Shiro now has a profile on your PaygOps account with a client number and an overview of how the transaction went. For the second scenario, you'll have an option where a farmer with a loan would like to pay back the loan with cash or harvest or just with harvest. And an important thing to note here is if a farmer would like to pay back their loan with harvest and the value of the loan of the harvest is greater than that of the loan, it is possible for you as a distributor to refund or repay the farmer using PaygOps. So in this case, the farmer will have an active contract, an active loan contract, meaning that in the past, the farmer has taken inputs from the distributor. In this case, we have Patrick Shema with an active loan. Patrick's loan is 36,500 Kenya shillings. And today, Patrick has paid 7,800 Kenya shillings. And this graph is an overview of the payment progression, just giving a more visual view of how much is remaining for him to complete his contract. Once you scroll down, you will see like an expected payments, assuming Patrick was going to pay cash, but this scenario will be different as soon as Patrick is paying with harvest. So once you go to Patrick's add-on section, how I'd mentioned earlier that add-ons are how we create products and offers on PaygOps. You will simply add a new purchasing add-on, meaning that Patrick is going to pay back the loan with maize. So purchasing loan offer, and then we'll write maize. Patrick is going to supply the maize bags today, the 13th of March. And let's say Patrick is going to provide 40 bags of maize. At the same step where you're creating the purchasing add-on is where you as a distributor have the power or ability to change the price. And it's also very possible for you to have multiple versions of the same offer depending on the scenario or the location or whatever other variables come in when you're doing your pricing. So Patrick is selling 40 bags of maize on the 13th of March. You can add that as an add-on to his contract. Once the add-on is added, you'll see he still has an active loan, but the amount that has gone towards his repayment has reduced his overall balance. Now, Patrick could keep paying small amounts until his balance is completed, but there's also the chance that Patrick might supply more maize or other add-ons greater than the value of the loan. So again, let's say Patrick has come to supply maize again today, for example, and he's supplying 400 kilograms of maize, for example. It is a farmer could supply multiple things on the same day. There's no limit, and there's no limit to the number of add-ons that the farmer could have. So now Patrick has overpaid his contract, meaning that there's a balance of negative 19,700, where you as a distributor will have to pay back to return to the farmer to balance his contract and make the status completed. You can see also in the payment progression graph that he's paid 153.97% of what should have been 100%. So we need to refund Patrick his money. You can also do this in PaygOps. You'll just simply go down where you have the option to pay the client in cash or in mobile money. So you'll just click this button where the amount that's required for Patrick will be pre-filled. In this case, it's 19,700. And you'll pay the farmer, and you get a confirmation message that the cash payment has been made to Patrick. And now when this is completed, when you come back to Patrick's contract status, you'll see that the amount has been readjusted, the money has been refunded to him. So it's at 100%. And also Patrick's status is now completed. In this way, Patrick has no more loan that needs to be paid back to the off-taker, and both parties have completed the parts of the contract. So in summary, there's cases where a client like Shiro would just like to sell the produce to an off-taker, and a separate scenario where a farmer like Patrick would like to have a loan and pay back his loan with cash and or harvest. I will give it back to Jacqueline for the final slide.
Yes, that was very insightful. Thank you very much, Caroline. I have no doubt that's going to be useful to a lot of people in the agribusiness industry or even beyond. If you have any questions, I would implore you to take maybe the next 2 minutes or so to let us have those questions, either in the Q&A chat or in the, in the regular chat box. And in parallel as well, if you can take a few seconds to answer our very last poll before we jump to answering your questions, we would be highly grateful for that. So we're curious to know if you're currently doing off-taking, what tools or software you're using to manage your operations, if you have any at all. If you don't as well, let us know by selecting one of the options that applies to you and your organization. Thank you. All right, so thank you all for your attention. We are very grateful that you've joined us from the beginning until the very end. We're going to now move on to the Q&A session and then take a couple of questions that are coming through. You still have some time to drop your questions if you haven't yet done so, and we will address them one after the other. So let's get cracking with the questions. We have one question coming in from Jackson, and he's asking, is this feature available on the mobile app? So maybe to you, Caroline, if you'd like to answer that.
It will be available in the mobile app, yes. So reason being that this sort of transactions are more likely to happen out in the farm. So it's unlikely that the field agent would have a desktop. So yes, it will be on the mobile app.
Okay, so I guess that answers your question there, Jackson. We have another one coming in from Cindy, and Cindy wants to know, is it possible to create profiles in bulk by maybe importing an Excel sheet in the case of numerous clients? And she's assuming that an off-taker would be the one to create these profiles.
Yes, definitely. It's possible to upload your clients in bulk using bulk API, which is a feature on PaygOps at the moment. And you're definitely right that an off-taker will have a large register of clients and it would be taking too much time to do every single person manually.
Right. Thank you for the answer there, Caroline. We'll move on to the third question. Let me just... Right. So the third question is coming in from Anthony Mayodi, and he's inquiring, does the system allow field officers to intake clients in the field through the phone, and then the same information submitted to the head office server? So I suppose he's asking there about mobile app use for this feature on the field.
Yes, definitely. This is possible. And using the offline capability that Nelson had spoken about at the start of this presentation, you can do all of these actions remotely.
Okay, so Anthony has a follow-up question. What is the fee to acquire the software? And do you provide technical assistance?
That's a question to Nelson.
Yeah, I
Nelson?
can answer this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anthony, so we have a fee when you're taking the entire software, and maybe perhaps we can engage with you after this to share this to you. We have the fee pricing on our website as well. And then also for off-takers, I'd be curious to know if you're using any other software. So if you're just interested in the off-taking components as well, we are able to provide this, and we have a specific fee for this. So my suggestion would be to reach out after this. I'll share my contacts and we can go deeper into our pricing, but it's also available on our website. So I'll leave the link on chat.
Thanks, Nelson, for that. And we will, of course, drop an email where you can reach us to us at before we leave this session. I think we have another follow-up question from Cindy, and Cindy wants to find out, when a client wants to pay back a loan using their produce, does the distributor or off-taker consent to this? So in terms of approval, what goes on there?
So let me see if I understand this. So if I as a farmer would like to pay back my loan with beans, would the distributor allow this? Is that?
Yes, that's essentially what the question is, finding out.
Okay. So for Cindy, you as the off-taker or distributor have the leeway to decide what items you allow to in your catalog or in your list of offers to be accepted by farmers. And if a farmer was to supply something like sunflower seeds and you're not taking those items, then you will not have to take those items.
Thank you for that, Caroline. Do we have any more? Yeah, we do have quite a couple still coming in. Okay, we've got one from an internal person we know asking, is it possible to see the history of transactions made on the account? That is the loan repayments and off-taking purchases, refunds, etc. Are we able to see the history of these transactions being made on the account?
Yes, on every single client's account or contract page, there's a record of every single transaction that has happened with that clients. So you'll always have a record of what's activities going on with them and their purchases.
Great. Patricia is also asking her, will the new feature be added automatically to the old website, or do we need to make other payments to get it? Nelson, that's for you. Sorry, we can't hear you. I think you're muted there still.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, the feature, once the feature is available, there's different pricing for the off-taking component. So if you want to take the off-taking component as together with your current subscription, then we can be able to share with you the pricing for that off-taking feature specifically.
I hope that answers your question there, Patricia, because we've got another one coming in from Christoph Banga, and he's saying, I'm interested to know if the tool currently provides any integration with other internal organizational tools. For example, a company relying on QuickBooks for accounting, finance, transactions tracking.
Yes, with the PaygOps API, you're able to integrate our software into what you're currently using. So yes, this is possible.
Yes, and also to add to that, Christoph, we actually do offer QuickBooks integrations for clients who do need it. So that is entirely possible. Let's see if we've got any more questions and even time to do that. I think we still got a couple of minutes more to take some other ones coming in. So we've got Anthony asking again, how does the app minimize fraud in offtake?
Yeah, maybe I can support to answer this.
Go on.
Yeah, so when the farmers are bringing in their produce that they're selling to you as the distributor, as the off-taker, there's some of the fields that we're collecting to help you minimize fraud. So first of all, farmer side, you have the ability to collect a lot of biodata and information that you can use to validate that's the ID of the farmer who you're selling to, you're providing to. Then when you're making payments, as you saw during the presentation or demonstration by Caroline, a lot of the payment information that was already collected is automatically shared. So you just by the click of a button through the app, you're able to make these payments, whether it's by cash or through mobile money integration. So all of those components help to minimize the risk of fraud. Then we have the really cool feature that also helps you to minimize the risk of fraud from maybe internal side, such as the surface mapping feature, which then you're able to accurately see that the people who maybe your field teams have enrolled or who are in your pipeline are actually farmers, and you can verify and see whether the farmland that that has been captured by your agent's team in the ground is actually your farmlands, or if there's fraudulent activity, then you'll be able to clearly see from there. So the solution has a number of touch points really from the data that you collect that can help you proactively be able to counteract fraud, whether it's from the customers that you support or whether it's from internal teams.
And also,
go ahead.
Also to add in thank you to Nelson's comments. So once you have the PaygOps app, you can download an audit log of every single action that happens to each of the clients. So you also have an extra way to verify that the information that is coming in is indeed accurate and true. And if there's any discrepancies or gaps, then we can always follow it up.
Thank you, Nelson and Caroline, for that insight into how the app can minimize fraud, even in off-taking. I think we've done justice to pretty much all the questions. If we don't have any more coming in, I think we can end the session here. But before we leave, I just want to say a big thank you to our audience for tuning in. We've seen through the chats people tuning in all the way from Tanzania, from Kenya. I've lost track of the number of, I think there's South Africa as well. We're very grateful, and we hope that genuinely the session was insightful and useful to you. and your questions were duly answered. But just in case you have like a further request or you want to gain more insights beyond this webinar, we're going to share an email where you can send us your queries. So please do engage with us at enquiries@solarisupgrade.com for more information. If you're already a PaygOps client, you can directly contact your account manager. And of course, if you have like a more sales related query as well, and you want to read directly to Nelson, he's also dropped his email in the chat for you to send your queries to him directly then. So thank you all once again. I just want to say thank you as well to our speakers for today, Nelson, Caroline. We're very grateful for the insights you've shared today on off-taking. And yeah, we hope to see you share more insights in the coming months. Thanks once again, everyone. See you hopefully in the next webinars. Goodbye.
Thank you, Jacqueline, as well. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.